Hey everyone, China Sade here. Welcome to the Sacred Bombshell. I don't know if I'm going to call it that, but that's what it is right now. And so I really just wanted to come to talk about relationships and just something that I feel like, especially people that have been on like the awakening path, have um have been really robbed of like relationship and really robbed of like true connection, especially people that's on this good vibes only tribe type thing. And there is balance. And I think we live almost in like to everything there has to be balance, okay? And so we cannot live in a spiritual dichotomy where things are just always good all the time. It's not real. It's delusion and illusion. Anything where there's delusion and illusion is a breeding ground for evil. It's a breeding ground for like demonic activity. It's a breeding ground for unconsciousness. It's a breeding ground for just blinders. Okay, take take it out your eye to see. Now, I know that's especially difficult if you have come from very trying relationships and you have a history. Like I'm very like energetically sensitive um to people's stuff, and like if you have had trauma, you've had these experiences where you really it's unresolved experiences, and it's triggers, psychological triggers, and all this other stuff, whatever you want to call it. And whatever your language is, and really it's a mixture of multiple things depending on the field, but ultimately it is like spiritual evil and wickedness. Okay, so this is really robbing people of having relationship. Like, and what really prompted me to even make this today is I was having a discussion with someone, and they were talking about how essentially they don't like saying goodbye. And it really started off with the person talking about they had experienced a death in their family, or not in their family, like in a friendship, something had happened, and they had missed like an appointment that we had set up. Okay, cool. Right. And so then we end up talking more, and this person's kind of older, still single, but wants to get married. And anyway, but they don't like saying goodbye. And so we get deeper into the dialogue, and essentially they're saying that they don't like the emotional responsibility of saying goodbye to someone, and they don't need the negativity of of the weight of someone else's desire for them, right? And so something I feel like this awakening path has taught us is that if anyone expresses like negativity, the best way to do is just cut it out your life. We're not learning how to have healthy relationship. Like, you can't cut everybody out your life. You can't. You really can't. People don't disappear. You're not on an island. We don't live alone. We do not live alone. And knowing that it's things that really don't want people to have good relationship. Like, I remember I was sitting here and I was in a dialogue, and again, I'm very energetically sensitive. I can literally feel stuff. So I felt something, and I'm like, okay, what is this? And then all of a sudden later, like maybe like 5 minutes later, I started feeling irritated, and like I felt like this energy brewing up argument, and it was all over some political stuff that honestly doesn't even really matter. And so what I had to do was come back to myself and say, like, this is something that is energetically trying to create a spirit of confusion and separation and division between me and this person I'm talking to, where there was no division, there was no separation. And definitely it's primarily trying to separate like romantic relationships, but all relationships, any relationship that would be beneficial to people, that's supportive to people, that's going to uplift you, that's going to grow you, that's going to change you, that's going to do something in you. You know what I mean? You'll be loyal to the person that is the most toxic person, and maybe on the surface they're not toxic because they're saying pleasing things and blah blah blah, but to the person that you may have natural healthy dialogue or maybe conflict with that you don't necessarily agree with, but that's going to help you to grow, you will cut off your life. And you have to realize that the enemy, or whatever you want to call it, whatever tribe you're in, the enemy or these the lower vibration things, and I mean, even with that, like, I understand that we think it's just low vibe. No, there's actually things that have that things in the ethers that have some level of spiritual intelligence that is scheming. Like, if you think that it's happening on a, especially for people of color, you're talking about uh you know that it was a agenda to separate households and to keep people, men outside of the household and things like that, so that you know that it has to develop on a spiritual level. Anything that's in the physical realm has starts on the spiritual realm. We start from spirit and we come into creation. We're incarnate. We're incarnating, right? So you have to understand that if it's happening in the physical realm, it's happening somewhere in the spiritual realm. It can't happen without that. You need to have an understanding of that. So before you're just on this good vibes only tribe, and I'm not saying stay in toxic relationships. Like, you have to be discerning. You have to know your self worth. You have to understand what your triggers are. Like, you have to know. You have to reflect. You have to really understand the word of the Most High, and what is really the nature and intent for relationships. And so, yeah, I just really want to put that out because I just really feel like there is something that is really attacking. Like, it's definitely a divide and conquer energy right now. And I've been watching a whole lot of different things. Like I said, I'm super energetically sensitive. I can feel stuff and all this other stuff. But watching different things, talking to different people, having different dialogues with people, and understanding that it's stuff that doesn't want you to have healthy relationships. That doesn't mean that everyone that appears as a friend or a lover is a friend and a lover. That's not true either. It doesn't mean everyone that wants to stay in your life is good for your life. That's not true either. But it's up to you to really ask the Holy Spirit and what people call their inner self or whatever. I mean, I don't want to just relapse it. I really want to say, like, ask the indwelling of the Holy Spirit for you to have you understand what is healthy relationship. What is healthy relationship? How do you have healthy relationships with other people? What does that require? You can't just walk away from everything. It's nonsensical. It's literally nonsensical. And I think that's something like that the New Age movement, or people, I don't want to say that, but people that are like, especially on like an awakening path, that it's like everyone I know that has been on awakening path spent time alone, and I'm developing myself and trying to figure myself out and get to know me, and I'm going to get to know me, and I'm going to get to know me, and that's all fine and dandy. But when does it become that you and other people exist? When does it become that you understand that you're not in the world alone? When does that happen? At what point everyone I know that's on a awakening path eventually just becomes all this, they're so content being by themselves. But really it just sounds like non-compromise to try to understand other people. You just do your thing and I'll just do my thing. Well, it's not, I mean, that's true to an extent, but that's just not what life is. Life is about, like, literally, I don't want to say this is all life is about, because clearly life is about more than one thing, but as far as relationship, like, understanding understanding the person that's in front of you and coming to some level of agreement or not. You know what I mean? But it's not just like we just do our thing and that's just it. You don't have to make people conform to anything. But it's more than just we just here doing our own thing. And so I would definitely say for the people that are having like discongruent relationships right now, is something in the ethers or something in the air that's kicking up division. I mean, you can see that on the world stage, so you know what's happening in interpersonal relationships. But really, just to challenge you to go deeper. Stop with the surfacey relationship stuff. Stop. Stop running every time something is disagreeable to you. Develop emotional maturity. Like, we don't have any level of emotional maturity, and I'm not excluded from that. I got my own crap. Yeah. But when we like don't kill my vibe all the time, like sometimes people gonna kill your vibe and sometimes it's necessary, but sometimes you're wrong. And that's okay. And maybe them killing your vibe will help you grow and reflect. You can't live in la la land. You just can't. All right. So, and I mean, if you're going to be in a relationship, knowing that you're going to have a level of emotional accountability with someone, that's just facts. It doesn't mean that you are the sole person that is there to keep them happy, but it means that you're going to have a level of emotional accountability, and you're going to have to learn how to have a healthy relationship, and you're going to have to develop the skills that it takes to have a healthy relationship, and you may have to change some of who you are to develop those skills if you don't already come equipped with it. And knowing that as time goes by, that may change. But it's really a nonsensical thing to think that you would be in relationship with someone, and not saying that it can't be like when it flows, but that there's never going to be times where you're going to have to step outside of yourself, really listen, develop emotional skills, and understand what the person is saying, and understand their point of view, and maybe they're dead wrong, but you may still have to do that, and it may not always be comfortable. It may have some pain, and at the end of the day, you still may not agree, but that's maturity. And for men and women and men, if anyone does not want to be emotional accountable to you, and they're telling you that from the jump, um, that's for you and the Most High to sit with and decide, like, what is it that is really best for you? But because people do change as well, but this is where the spirit of discernment really comes in, and understanding where someone is in life, what they're saying versus who they really are, what's happening with them or whatever. But just do better. Just relationships are so fundamentally important to just having life. Like I don't. Everywhere you go, you're gonna encounter people. It's just facts. You have a relationship with money. You have a relationship with yourself. You have a relationship with other people. You have a relationship. Everything in life is built around relationship. Your relationship with God. Your relationship with everything. Everything in your life is around relationship. And we have such dysfunctional, narcissistic views of relating with other people. We really do. And then you have people on the other side that just don't have boundaries and all this other stuff. So really, it's a balance. But it's to just for this point, know that relationship requires effort and work. Know that there's going to be times when you're gonna, it may just flow, and some things may just be an unsaid thing. But knowing that anything unsaid, when you have like unwritten agreements and unwritten ways of just relating with another person, that leads to that unconsciousness of something slipping through the cracks. So in your relationship, I would encourage you, relationship with everyone, friendship, food, everything. Like if you don't know how you relate with food and you're trying to lose weight, trying to gain weight, you don't know how you're gonna do that because you don't know how you relate with it. So everything that you're trying to figure out and be conscious about and bring the light to, you need to understand how you have relationship with it. All right. So that's all I'm gonna say. That's it. But hey, how are you? That's it. But yeah, just please, y'all. If you're on this enlightenment track, know that doesn't mean cutting out relationships. Knowing that actually means like becoming better. It doesn't. You don't just have a relationship with your inner master. No, no. That's supposed to translate out to regular life. This is not just I'm relating to my inner masculine and I'm relating to my inner feminine. And that's a part of it. I don't even know, even at this point, how much of that is even really, but that could just be all part of just getting us to go to go inside and not connect with the world. Okay. I mean, I'm definitely a believer, know that self is our own self be true. But sometimes you don't really know yourself until you interact with other people. You're always growing and changing. Who you are today is different than who you may be tomorrow based on your interaction with other people. But if you're so busy trying to and make them conform to who you are, you're not going to even get to know who, like, more of who you are. You having experiences with people solidifies and refines who and what you are. Okay? So have healthy relationships, have healthy agreements, have healthy discussions, have healthy, like, it's okay. It's all right. All right.